Okay, wonderful. Good evening, everyone. As we are sponsored by Abi Spry with Hatzlacha for his children and grandchildren, Baruch Ian, Leon Nishmas, Yaakov Chaim Ben Abba, Esther Bas Gittel, Avram Ben Shmuel Akon, by Shalom Fogel, Yaakov Zeb Ben Yehuda Aryeh, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzvia Miriam Bas Gad, and Yosef Ben Sim Ben Yaakov Zeb, and Neshama should have an Aliyah, by Yaakov Yamansky, with a curse of Tov to the Rav and the Zoom family, and Nachas from children and grandchildren, by Ed Salah from London, and Joshua Rosenberg. We welcome in Mo Kushner, Shalom Fogel, Ben Sion Kom, Baruch Ian, Saba. We welcome in Menachem Yamansky. We welcome in Mel Zachter, Rabbi Krantz, thank you, Elliot Udell, Marshall Castle, Itchy, Dr. Guy, and A.B. Spry, Michael, Aaron Seid, Shimon Klein, Philippe, Arnold Schenkman, Nachman Chapler, Moshe Lehman, Berish Gesseman, Avram Rezepkowitz, Ilya Shutman, Shelley Zeitlin, Naftali Jablin, Yitzi Muller. Here in the shul, we have the pleasure of having Rich Chaim Kramer, Rich Leonard, Michal Avram Chavin, Ruvain Shannon, and we are holding by Tojma, which is 4 lines from the bottom of Daf Tzadik Beis Amid Beis. I want to remind you, Rabbi Isai, that we had a machlokes between Rav and Shmuel whether we should go Basar Raiv by money matters. Rav says that we go Basar Raiv by money matters, and Shmuel says that we do not. Shmuel says that we do not, and now the Gemara is going to attack this question. Tojma, hamoicher eved l'chaverai, if let's say that Marshall sells an eved to A.B. Spry, and A.B., you should know when Marshall sells you something, you're always in for a surprise. Now, depends how surprised you're going to be. Benin Tzaganev, if you find that the slave is a thief, oikav yostis, we'll learn like Tosfos, because in the conclusion of the Gemara, this seems to be more plausible on the simple level. Oikav yostis, so you find out that the Ev is a gambler. Higiu, you have no recourse, because most slaves are thieves and gamblers. If you find out Lista Mezuyim, he's an armed bandit, or muchtav lamachlis, or he was condemned to death by the government, so Amalai, so you could tell Marshall, here's it back. It's a mekach tois. I wasn't buying an armed bandit or a condemned man. But the bottom line is, Reisha, in the first case, my timer, why does he have to accept the gambler or the thief? La mishum deruba hachiyisnu. Isn't it because the majority of slaves are that way? So you see that by mominus you go basar raiv. Says the Gemara, like kulahu hachiyisnu. Not the majority. All slaves are that way. All slaves are thieves. All slaves are gamblers. Tajma. Now this is a Gemara that we're very familiar from Masechtas Bava Kama, also from the Mishnah Yomis, when we learned Masechtas Bava Kama, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvaro. Toshma, show shenogach esapora. What happened over here is, whose show do you think it is? I'll give you one guess. Marshall's show gored A.B.'s cow. Now, A.B.'s cow was pregnant, mazel tov. But v'nimtza ubra betzida, we find a dead fetus next to the cow. Now, we know that Marshall's show gored A.B.'s cow. So A.B. wants to collect the money from the fetus. But Marshall says that it miscarried before his shor gored it. Of course, you knew that Marshall would say that. The Eina Yedua, we don't know if it miscarried before it gored A.B.'s cow. or Mishanaka Yoda, or if it miscarried afterwards. Now, there's also damage to the cow. Now, Marshall's shor is a tam. It's a first-timer. So a first-timer pays only a chatzi nezek. So the halacha is, Mishalim chatzi nezek lepara. He has to pay half damages for the cow because he definitely did damage to Abi's cow, but the fetus is a suffix. Or Reviya Levlad. It's going according to Sumchis, that Momen Amuto b'Safek Cholkin, and since we don't know if Marshall's acts caused the miscarriage or it miscarried before, so he pays half of what he would pay if he did damage it. If he did damage it, it would be a half a nezek because it's a tam, so he pays quarter damages. But the Gemara says, I don't understand. According to Rav, if we go Basar Rav, Rav dictates that Abi's cow would have had a healthy child. So we should say it must have been because of Marshall's acts. Because Rav tells us that otherwise it would have been a healthy child. Vamai, lema holachacha Rav paris. We should go after the majority of cows. Rav paris, misabris v'yoldes. Most cows have a healthy child. And therefore, v'havadai, in this case, therefore, it must be that machmas negicha apila. It was because of Marshall's acts, and therefore Marshall should have to pay, according to Rav, that goes Basar Rav, he should have to pay half damages for the fetus also. So here, the Gemara has a nifty answer. The Gemara says no. What's talking about is that you're right. You're right, Abi's cow miscarried because of Marshall's acts. But here's Marshall's story. Marshall says that the axe came barreling to the front of Abi's cow. And Abi's cow was terrorized, and it miscarried from the fright. Oh, then that's only a grumma. So then Marshall wouldn't be chayiv. Abi says, no, it gored it from the back, it caused it directly, and it is chayiv. That's the suffix. Let's see it inside. How brilliant of an answer is this? Says the Gemara, Hasam mishum de misafkalon. No, there's no question. If it miscarried, it was because of Marshall. Because otherwise, Rav would tell us that it would have a healthy child. But Marshall says it's only a grama. And grama b'nizakin is potter. Marshall has all the angles. Says the Gemara, Hasa mishim de mesafkalan de ikalameima mekama asa. The shor came from the front, umibiasusa hipila, and it miscarried from the fright. And for a fright, Marshall's not chayiv because that's a grama. While Abi says v'ikalameima me'achura asa, it came from behind, umingach nipnacha, and then it directly gored it v'ipila, and that would be he would be chayiv because that's direct. So having mammon amuta b'safik, it's money that's in a doubt. The kol mammon amuta b'safik, and any money that's in doubt, cholkin we divide. Right? It's going according to Sumchis that mammon amuta b'safik cholkin. So the Gemara says, let's say this machlokes Rav and Shmuel is dependent whether you go Basar or Rov or not by mammon is dependent in the following Tanoim. So says the Gemara, says the Gemara, Lema Ketanai. Let's say it's dependent as we welcome in Dr. Black for our 30th Zoomer of the evening. And And everybody, by the way, we welcome in very warmly Philippe, who is here from Tel Aviv, 3:20 in the morning, and he's busy dodging missiles from Yemen. We should send out an email that it's Philippe, not Marshall. Rich says we should send him a page. Lema Kitanoi. Shosha Yeroya. This is an interesting case. You're going to see how, according to the Tam Nakama, Marshall gets off the hook over here, even if it really sounds like he should be chayiv. I mean, if you ask me, Marshall, I'm getting hungry.
Are you flushing?
Lema, this guy lives on pizza and frankfurters. Shosha Yeroya. Marshall Shar. Now get a load of this. Marshall Shar is a public menace. He's a mu'ad. He gored already 3 times. So Shar Yeroya. Marshall's menace was pasturing. V'nimsa Shar Hareg B'tzidai. And AB's poor Shar is found dead next to it. Afal pi shezeh menugach, even though AB Shar is found to be gored, v'zeh muad ligach, and Marshall Shar is already a 3-timer to go. Or zeh menushach, or AB's poor Shar is bitten, v'zeh muad lishach, and Marshall Shar already bit people 3 times, bit oxen 3 times. The Tanakama says Marshall's off the hook. Ein aimrim biyadua shezeh nakhu v'zeh nashchu. The Tanakama says we don't say that it was surely Marshall's. Maybe it was another axe that was roaming around. Reb Acha says, what are you talking about? I'll tell you even a less damning case. Rabbi Acha Gomer ha'oicher, a camel that's in heat. In heat means that this camel is mating camels. And it's called oicher because, interesting, camels mate back to back. So Gomer ha'oicher, a camel that's in heat. One of Marshall's camels is in heat. Now, it's the way of camels that are in heat that they don't brook competition. And they smash another camel that's nearby. Another male that's nearby. So Gamal Oicher Bein Agmalim. Marshall's camel is in the heat. Now, it's not even a mu'at, but it's in heat. V'nimtza Gamal Hareg B'tzidai, and you find a camel nearby. B'yadua shezeh hargai. We can assume that it was Marshall's animal that did it. Now, that's even if it's not a mu'at. So the Gemara thinks now over here, this is not a rug, this is a chazaka. Because shar mu'at is a chazaka that it gores. And an animal that's in the heat is a chazaka that it damages. So Savrua, the Gemara thought now and equated a majority to a chazaka, to a presumptive status. Savrua deruba v'chazaka ki adodininu. Lema Rav Dama Ravacha. Ravacha, who goes basa chazaka, he would also go basa right. V'shmuel Dama Tanakama, who doesn't go basa chazaka, so he would also not go basa right. Amalach Rav, so Rav counters no. Anodam Rafilu Tanakama. I could hold even like the Tanakama who says that we don't go basa chazaka, but a chazaka is not as strong as a right. We don't go after presumptive status. Bava Basra Ruba, majority, Azlina. Shmuel takes out the Talmudic surgical scalpel and slices it a different way. V'Shmuel Amalach, Anod Amri Afilu Rabacha. I, who don't go Basarayv, I could hold even according to Rabacha, who says it was Marshall's animal that was in heat. Why? Because here Shmuel does something fancy. He says when the chazaka is in the animal itself, that's more conclusive. We're saying that this animal, it's in heat, has a chazaka that it damages. That's very powerful. Aruba de lesser kaman, arrive because we say that Roiv, for example, we say that Roiv animals give birth to healthy babies. That's a Roiv of the animals in the world. That's not directly on this animal. And that's what Shmuel says is different. Adkan loikam Rav Acha that we say that the animal that's in heat, or the animal that gored 3 times did it. Because it pertains to that actual animal. But arrive because of what goes on generally in the world, which doesn't pertain to something identifying necessarily this specific animal, that we don't use. So now the Gemara brings us a proof from our Mishnah. Tajma, what happened over here is that Marshall sold produce to Abi, v'zoran v'loy tzamchu, and Abi planted them and they were duds. V'afilu zera pishtin, even flaxseed, which is usually generally not sold for food. Einoi chaya b'achri yusa. Marshall doesn't have to pay Abi because he could say, look, Abi, I sold it to you for food. And therefore it doesn't have to be able to grow. Now, my afilu, lav afilu zera pishtin, isn't it even flaxseed? The rubel is zavne, that the majority of people buy it for planting, because it's not usually eaten. So we see, even though the Rav says that Abi bought it for planting, still Marshall doesn't have to pay. So we see by Mammon, we don't go Basar Rav. So it's a Kash on Rav and a Raya to Shmuel. So the Gemara says, you're right, but Tanoi, it's a Machlokes Tanoi. The Tanya, and here we're going to have 3 opinions. Watch it carefully. You might think it's 2 opinions, but it's really 3 opinions.
Can I pop in with a question?
Yeah.
In the last set of cases, why don't we just apply Hamotzi Mechaber al Raya? Because nobody saw anything. In these cases over here, dealing with Mammon, people are exchanging hand to hand.
No, so Simchas doesn't hold on Motzi Mechaber al Raya. Simchas holds Mammon Amut B'Safek Kolkin. That's why I kept on saying it's going according to Simchas.
Okay, got it.
Now, so the Gemara says, Tanoihi. The Tanya, we learned in a Braisa, Hamoicha Peris L'Chaveiroi, if Marshall sells produce to Abi, V'zoran V'loy Tzimcho, and he planted them and they didn't sprout, they're duds. Zarone Gina, if it's garden seed which is not edible, Shein Echolin, then Chayav B'achri Yusan. Then Marshall has to give him a refund because he sold them duds. Zera Pishtin, if it's flaxseed, Einoi Chayav B'achri Yusan. So, okay, so the Tanakama clearly says that we don't go Basar Rav, because by flaxseed, the majority don't buy it for food. So then l'chayra Marshall should be chayiv to refund, so we don't go Basra Rav. Rabbi Yossi says no. In a case of flaxseed, nice and like Dmei Zera, he has to refund him the cost of the seed. Amru Lai, so they said to Rabbi Yossi, what do you mean? Many people buy flaxseed for other things. Because some people buy flaxseed for medicinal purposes, and some people buy flaxseed for food. So there's many reasons that people buy flaxseed, and therefore he doesn't have to give him a refund. So the Gemara says, Man Tanoi, who are the two opinions that one holds that we go Basra Rav and one holds that we do not? If it's Rabbi Yossi and those that responded to Rabbi Yossi, they both go Basra Rav. Travayu Basra Ruba, like they just look at a different Rav. Mar Ozel Basra Ruba de Inche. One goes Basra Rav people, and Rav people do not buy flaxseed for planting. Majority of people, some people buy it to munch on, and some people buy it for medicinal purposes. Omar Azel Basar Ruba de Zriya. We go Basar the majority of flax seed that's sown, that's sold. Not Basar buyers, but the majority of flax seed that's produced is for planting. And if we go look at that majority, then Marshall has to give Abi a refund when he finally finishes eating. Tanakama v'Reb Yossi. It's either the Tanakama or Reb Yossi. Tanakama v'Amrulai. Reb Yossi or Amrulai hold that we go Basra Rav. The Tanakama that says that even if it's, as long as it's not Zarone Gina, even if it's something that the majority is sold for planting, you still do not have to give a refund because we don't go Basra Rav. Now, in the event that Marshall has to give AB a refund, let's say he sold them Zarei Negina. Zarei Negina is, seeds that are surely for planting and they were duds. So Marshall has to give AB a refund. How much of a refund does he have to give him? There's two things going on. There's the cost of the seeds, and also the fact that AB had his workers plant the field, and it didn't grow. Well, now Marshall is getting real pale. That's already significantly more of a refund. Right? So it says about Tan Rabbanan, Mao nice and light. What does he have to refund him? Dmei Zera, the cost of the seeds, v'lo haitzah, but not the expenses that the workers did the work. V'yeshaimim afaitzah, he has to pay the expenses also. Man yeshaimim, who are the yeshaimim? Amr Rav Chisda Reb Shimon Gamliel. It's Reb Shimon Gamliel. Hey Reb Shimon Gamliel. Which Reb Shimon Gamliel? Ilaima Reb Shimon Gamliel the Mas Nisan. If it's Reb Shimon Gamliel of our Mishnah, the Tanan, Hamoicha Peris Chaveira, if you sell produce to Abi. V'zoran v'leit simku, it planted and didn't sprout, v'afilu zera pishtin, even flaxseed. Ein a chay b'achriyusin. The Tanakama says you don't have to pay, because he could say that he sold it for food or for medicine. Eimer Sefer. Reb Shimon Gamliel Eimer, Zaroi Negina she'ein nechalin, garden seeds that are not eaten, so therefore he definitely bought it for planting. So the Gemara says, what's Reb Shimon Gamliel adding? Tanakama nami hachi kama. The Tanakama also said that zera pishtin udein achriusin. It's only flaxseed that he's not chai, because flaxseed is edible and it can be used for medicine. But garden seed shein nechalin Chayav Achriyusin. So the Reb Shimon Gamliel and Tanakama hold the same thing. Elalav Hoitzoi Kibinayu. It must be that the Tanakama holds he only has to refund the seed, and Reb Shimon Gamliel says he has to refund for the workers working on the duds. Ma'asava D'mei Zera, Ma'asava Afatzah. So the Gemara says, but how do you know it's Reb Shimon Gamliel who holds that he has to pay the expenses? Maybe it's the Tanakama that holds he has to pay the expenses. Memai Dilma Ipcha. So here the Gemara tells us a very big shas yisoid. Haloi kasha kol Tana Basra. Whenever there's a second opinion in the Mishnah, this is something that's very good to remember. This is a good shas rule. Kol Tana Basra, any Tana that's adding something, l'tfuye milsa ka'asi, comes to say more. Says the Gemara, V'dilma kula Reb Shimon Gamliel. Who says there's a machlokes at all in the Mishnah? Maybe the Mishnah is only one opinion. V'chesurei mechsera, and it's something missing in the text. V'achi ketani. Hamoicha peris l'chaveira, if you sell fruit produce to your friend, v'zaron v'lei tzimchu, and you planted it and it didn't sprout, v'afilu zerav pishtin, even flaxseed that's not usually sold for food, eina chayav b'achriyusin. Marshall doesn't have to give a refund because he could say he sold it for food, for medicinal purposes. But garden seeds that are not eaten, Reb Shimon Gamliel, garden seed which are not eaten, so therefore it's certainly bought for planting, and Chayav Achriyusin, he has to refund them. And since there's no two opinions, you can't say that Reb Shimon Gamliel is also adding the expenses. Ella ha Reb Shimon Gamliel. It's the following Reb Shimon Gamliel. The Tanya, if you take your wheat to Marshall to grind, now why you would do that, I don't know. Now, when you take wheat to a mill, they have to moisten it, because by moistening it, they get rid of the bran. They get rid of the tap. But Marshall didn't moisten it. So now it got ground together with the bran. V'loi lasasan. And therefore, Vasa Subin, it made bran, oimursin, or coarse bran, kemach lenachtain, or you took flour to Marshall to bake it. Va'aful pasni pulin, and he's not a good baker, he made crumbly bread. You took your animal to Marshall to shech, v'nibla, and he made it an avela. You should only know what he would do to your car. Chayiv. Why is he chayiv? Because he's getting paid for this. And since he's getting paid for this, he's like the Girsa others have is shu naisei sacher. He's paid for his services. And since he's paid for his services, he's chayiv. Now, Reb Shimon Gamliel says he's not only chayiv to pay for the animal, or for the flopped bread, or for the flopped flour, but now your Sheva Brachas doesn't have bread to wash. Whoever heard of a Sheva Brachas without bread to wash? Your Siyam doesn't have meat. So he has to pay for the busha to the host and for the uncomfortability of the guests. Shimon Gamliel, I'm a nice thing to make Baishtay v'debeit Baishas Archav. It's the embarrassment of the host, and it's also the uncomfortability of the guests. They don't have supper. There was a big minig in Yerushalayim that if you give Marshall the job of catering your meal, and he messed it up, everybody sits down to eat the fish and they feel a little nauseous and dizzy and they start vomiting from the smell. So not only does Marshall have to pay for ruining the food if you gave him the food, but also the embarrassment of the host and the guests. Now, just because we're talking about a great minig in Yerushalayim, this is another beautiful minig. People made their house available for poor people to come when they were eating. They always made a little extra. But people, in order that it shouldn't be a free-for-all, that people should come in at all times, so they would have a sign to let people know that it's dinner time and they could come in. So, Oid Minig Gadol Haya B'Yerushalayim, Mapa Prusa Al Gabi HaPesach, they would spread a cloth on the door, Kol Zman Shemapa Prusa, when the cloth was on the door, that's a welcome sign that we're eating. And Orchin Nichnasin, the guest would come in. Nistalka Marpa, once the cloth was removed, then Eina Orchin Nichnasin. Now, I didn't tell you, Rabbi, I said that we're just getting started now, except if you read the message that I sent out in our WhatsApp group. We are learning 2 blat tonight because we have 4 days next week: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Shabbos, and we don't want to have to do 4 blat Motzoi Shabbos, so we're going to try to make up before Rosh Hashanah 2 blat, so that way on Motzi Yom Tov we only have to do 2 blat. So tonight we're going to make up the first of those 2 blat, which is, Rabbi said this is already Erev Shabbos. It's the last Erev Shabbos of the year. So whatever we could do, the Bali Musa say that we could be masakin all the Erev Shabboses of the entire year. So it's a really, really, really special day. That's why we want to really say to the Olam that all of the jokes we say about Marshall is only in jest. Nobody should think there's any real feelings to it. We all love Marshall, and no chas v'shalom. Nobody should.
Guys, love me more. This is feeling great.
Nobody should extrapolate that you're supposed to make fun of people. It's only to, wake everybody up and keep everybody involved. The truth of the matter is that Marshall, I imagine, Marshall, that you work pretty hard in your car shop. So to come after working in a car shop very hard and to come every night to learn is extremely praiseworthy. So we're certainly not making fun of you in reality. But anyway, so let's just I should have been doing this while I was talking. Let's just change the channel over here.